Hello, hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here with you to present this training all about your hormones, all about your cycle health, your cycles, how to cycle track, how to cycle sync, how it all works together so that you can thrive in your life, so that you can thrive in your business if you're a female business owner, how you can thrive in your relationships, in your health, in all aspects of your life. I'm so excited to bring this training to you, all about how to optimize your flow. So I'll be diving into and teaching you, how to tap into the secret superpower of your cycle so that you can optimize your energy, get more done with less stress, and overcome period problems. So if you're a female business owner, if you're not a female business owner, this applies to you because by working with our hormones and by working with our cycles, we can really show up for ourselves and we can become super powerful and just super energetic and just to get more done with less stress while eliminating period issues. So I'm super excited to talk to you about this in this training. So my name is Becca. I'm a certified holistic health coach and hormone expert. So let's get started. All right, so a little disclaimer before I dive in. Everything I'm about to talk to you about is for informational purposes only. Talk to your doctor. I'm not a doctor. Talk to your doctor if if you have any questions. By watching, you understand and agree that this information is intended for general health and does not diagnose, treat, or prescribe treatment of disease. Just had to do a little disclaimer, of course. All right, so in this training, I'm going to show you how you can go from being stressed out, anxious, and overwhelmed by your hormones to being a hormonal goddess with consistent energy, feeling confident in your cycle, and getting more done with less stress by cycle syncing. All right, so what I'm going to be talking about, a little bit of an overview of this training. So I'll dive into a little bit of an introduction and then signs of hormonal imbalances, and then I'll be talking about more of an introduction to hormones, getting to know your cycle, why even track your cycle, and then how to track your cycle. And then I'll be diving into cycle syncing, how to do that, what that even is, all of that, and then how to get started if you're wanting to cycle track, wanting to cycle sync, wanting to heal your hormones. All right, so close your eyes and think about this with me for a second. So, do you ever notice how you feel like a completely different person at certain times of the month? One week, you're full of energy, you're crushing your to do list, you're feeling on top of the world, unstoppable, feeling incredible. And then the next week, you're super sensitive, feeling like a complete failure, having an existential meltdown. Have you ever noticed that? How you feel literally on top of the world one week, and then the next week you don't even want to leave the bed, you just want to watch Netflix all day. You can thank your hormones for that. Your hormones are the reason why you have those fluctuations in your energy, in your mood, and everything. It all relates back to your hormones and the different hormonal fluctuations we experience throughout our cycle, which I will be getting to in just a second. All right, so hormones are the missing piece of the puzzle. So the reason you're struggling with low energy, the reason you're struggling with sleep issues, with PMS, with period issues, with weight struggles, whether you can't lose weight or you're gaining weight, if you have moodiness, skin problems, a tanked metabolism, all of that is because you are not supporting your natural hormonal fluctuations. Everything comes back to our hormones. Our hormones dictate every single thing for us. And so we need to be working with our hormones. We need to be balancing our hormones and then working with these cyclical fluctuations that happen throughout the month in order to eliminate these symptoms that we experience. You could literally eat the perfect diet, but if your hormones are imbalanced, you will have low energy, weight issues, mood swings, and insomnia. Every single thing relates back to our hormones, which is good news because that means by working on healing hormones, working on cycle syncing, we can actually fix our hormones and we can fix all of these symptoms that we experience. Because once we work on balancing hormones and cycle syncing, all of these symptoms that you experience will disappear, and it is incredible. Your hormones are your superpowers when you get them working for you, not against you. And it's so, so, so powerful. This is everything. If you're struggling with pretty much any symptom, it relates back to our hormones, because our hormones dictate all of our biological systems in our bodies. They dictate everything for us. All right, so hi, my name is Becca. I'm your chocolate loving, eat more food, hormones are everything coach. I love chocolate. I will never tell you not to eat chocolate. I think that is ludicrous. I am the coach who always makes my clients eat more because they come to me not eating near enough. And so I make them eat more. You're welcome. With a huge focus on hormones, because our hormones are everything. So I struggled immensely with hormones. Back when I was in college, I actually lost my period for 4 years. I had hypothalamic amenorrhea, and this was due to not only like the stress from college, but also because I was so focused on what the like diet industry told us to do, right? Like, so the diet industry is so focused on calories in, calories out, eating less than you burn. And so I, thought in order to lose weight, in order to get toned, whatever, I needed to severely reduce my calories and exercise a lot. So that is what I did. I ate 1,200 calories a day while exercising, 90 plus minutes a day. And that caused me to lose my period for 4 years, as well as like feel absolutely terrible. I was anxious, I had anxiety, I was like depressed, I had mood swings, I was just not fun to be around. And it was because my hormones were so imbalanced because of, eating not near enough and over exercising, that it caused me to lose my period for 4 years. And so that kind of is what caused me to really like divert all of my like knowledge and everything into figuring out what was wrong and to figuring out how to correct myself. So I ended up studying nutrition and dietetics in college, and because of this, and then went on to study holistic nutrition and with a focus on hormones post college. And so that's kind of what led me to where I am now, so that I can just help women heal their hormones, help women heal their periods, so that they don't have to experience painful periods, so that they don't have to experience irregular periods, so that they don't have to experience PMS, all of that, because none of that is normal. All of that shows us that you're dealing with hormonal imbalances, hormonal issues that just need to be sorted out. So that is what I focus on. That is kind of how I got into this. So yeah. And I actually, a little bit of a fun fact. So once I started cycle syncing my business, once I started, syncing my business activities, these different things, these different aspects of my business with my cycle, I was able to actually 10x my business success, because I was supporting my hormonal fluctuations. So throughout the month, we have our mood changes, our energy levels change, our brain chemistry, our brain actually changes 25% over the course of our month. And so by aligning my business with these different cyclical fluctuations, I was actually able to optimize my success, optimize my productivity, optimize my efficiency. I was able to get more done with less stress by cycle syncing. And that showed because I showed via me 10xing my business success. And it's really, really, really cool. And this is a big focus that I help my clients with. All right, so tell me, does this sound familiar? You are sick and tired of struggling with your health. You know there has got to be a better way, and you are ready for answers. You know something is off, and you're ready to work with your body so that you can show up powerfully for your clients and your business. If you're a female business owner, if you're not, no worries. This hormone hormone balancing and, cycle syncing is far reaching beyond just for business owners. It affects everything in your life, whether you're a business owner or not. Um, so nothing is more powerful than a woman who has the knowledge of how her body works. When she learns how to work with her body instead of against it, hello, diet culture, she is truly unstoppable. And that is what I want for you. So do not settle for anything less than extraordinary. All right, so diving into some symptoms of a hormonal imbalance. So, how do you even know if you are struggling with hormones? If you experience one or multiple of these, you are dealing with some sort of hormonal imbalance. So, we have sleep issues, we have irregular periods, painful periods, PMS, digestion and gut issues, mood and cognitive issues, weight gain or trouble losing weight, low energy, fatigue, lethargy, acne, stress, overwhelm, anxiety, reliance on caffeine, reliance on alcohol, hair loss, menorrhea, hirsutism, irregular cycles, fibroids, cysts, PCOS, endometriosis, painful cramps, low libido, infertility, brain fog, depression, anxiety, mood swings, cravings, lethargy, insomnia, bloat. I know. All of these, I'm telling you, any type of negative symptom you are experiencing relates back to hormones, a hormonal imbalance. So it is so, so, so important to make sure that we are really focusing on hormones and healing hormones so that we can eliminate any of these symptoms that you're experiencing, all of these symptoms that you're experiencing. So tell me, how many of these can you check off? All right, so a little bit of an intro to hormones. I'm not going to go super, super in depth, but these are the big hitters when it comes to hormones in regards to our cycles. So we have estrogen. So estrogen stimulates the uterine lining and breast cells to grow. Estrogen controls retention of water and sodium and can be a mood regulator when in correct balance. So if imbalanced, symptoms include breast tenderness, heavy, irregular, and or painful periods, PMS, sluggish metabolism, mood swings, symptoms like that. And then it is the dominant hormone in the follicular phase, which is the first half of the cycle, pre-ovulation. I will get to the different phases of the cycle here in just a little bit. Progesterone. So the main functions, so progesterone prepares the endometrium for the potential of pregnancy. It triggers the lining to thicken. If the woman does not become pregnant, the corpus luteum breaks down, lowering progesterone levels and then sparking menstruation. So it's so important to know that you only create progesterone if you ovulate. If you do not ovulate, you are not creating progesterone, and then in turn, you are not getting these amazing benefits of progesterone. So you have to be making sure you are ovulating in order to make progesterone because the follicle that releases the egg, that follicle transforms into a structure called the corpus luteum, and the corpus luteum is what secretes progesterone. So if you don't ovulate, you are not making the corpus luteum, and in turn, you are not making progesterone. So important, and that also ties into kind of hormonal birth control. So how the pill works is it shuts down ovulation. So if you are not ovulating, again, you are not making progesterone, so you're not getting this beautiful symphony of the hormonal fluctuations and everything. So it's so important to make sure you are ovulating. I don't want to touch too much into the pill and hormonal birth control because I could talk about that all day, but yes. So diving back into progesterone. So progesterone is the dominant hormone in the luteal phase. So that is the second half of the cycle after you ovulate. I'll again get into the different phases here in just a little bit. So as I mentioned, it is only produced if ovulation occurs, and it is needed to balance estrogen. So estrogen and progesterone work together kind of like dance partners. So if you are not making enough progesterone, you will get symptoms of estrogen dominance which includes the PMS and the heavy, irregular, painful cycles, the breast tenderness, the headaches, the insomnia, all of those things. So we need to be making sure we're making enough progesterone to balance out estrogen's dominant effects. Now, moving on to testosterone. So testosterone is an androgenic hormone, so it's a male sex hormone. Testosterone signals the body to make new blood cells, supports muscle strength and bone health, and boosts libido in both men and women. So testosterone, it's really important for us as well. So I know a lot of women tend to not think that we make testosterone since it is a male hormone, but we do make testosterone and we need testosterone. All right, 2 more hormones I want to talk about before diving into everything else. I just really wanted to give kind of a little bit of an intro to hormones and kind of their impacts, at least the heavy hitters when it comes to our menstrual cycle. So cortisol. I'm sure you've heard of cortisol. So cortisol is your stress hormone, meaning it is released when you're stressed. So whether that be physical stress, mental stress, environmental, emotional, or physiological stress, they all release cortisol. So cortisol is a steroid hormone that controls a wide variety of vital processes in the body, including the metabolism, blood sugar levels, and the immune response. So controlling cortisol via managing stress is essential for hormone balance, because your body will prioritize survival, i.e. producing cortisol, over reproduction, i.e. sex hormone production. So if you are chronically stressed, you're chronically pumping out cortisol, your body will prioritize that at the expense of all of your other hormones, causing hormonal imbalances. Now, insulin. So insulin is a pro-inflammatory hormone that is released by the pancreas when there is a spike in glucose, aka blood sugar. It's also known as your fat-storing hormone. Blood sugar spikes cause insulin spikes. So stable blood sugar is key for stabilizing insulin. So this is a little bit of an image of a blood sugar roller coaster that I see so many, if not all, women are on. So whenever you eat something that is not blood sugar balancing, if you eat, a bagel or, a Pop-Tart or toast or something like that by itself without having a protein or a fat with it, your blood sugar spikes really quickly, and then your body releases insulin because insulin moves that blood sugar, that glucose that's in your blood, into your cells to be used for energy. And so because there's a big spike in blood sugar because that thing was like, super carby, insulin was quickly released. A lot of insulin was quickly released so to move that blood sugar into your cells. And then you get a quick drop in blood sugar as that blood sugar leaves, as that glucose leaves your blood and goes into your cells. And so that drop, that low blood sugar is when you feel the sugar cravings, the low energy, the brain fog, the fatigue, and all of that, and cravings, because your body is so smart and your body wants to raise your blood sugar back up because it is too low at this point. And so then that craving that your body triggers, makes you reach for the chocolate, the cereal, the muffin, whatever it is, to spike your blood sugar back up. And then a lot of insulin is released, and then this whole cycle kind of continues. And so it is so important to make sure that we get off of that blood sugar roller coaster in order to really support hormone health. So these 2 hormones are foundational. Like, first and foremost, we have to work on managing cortisol and blood sugar balance and like insulin stability, because they are the foundational components of hormone balance. All right, so getting to know your cycle. So there are 4 phases of your menstrual cycle. So we have the menstrual phase, which is starts the day 1 of your period. So day 1 of your bleed is your menstrual phase, and it lasts about 3 to 7 days. And then we move into, once that ends, you move into your follicular phase. So your follicular phase is the phase after you stop bleeding, leading up into your ovulatory phase. So this estrogen is the dominant hormone here, and it lasts about 7 to 10 days. Moving into your ovulatory phase. So this is the window when you are ovulating. So this is about 3 to 4 days long. It's the shortest phase of your cycle, but it packs the most powerful punch because ovulation is the star of your cycle show. So you need to be making sure you are ovulating. And so that's this phase here. And here your estrogen peaks, your testosterone peaks. So you have, high energy, feeling good, should have a high libido, all of that. And then after your ovulatory phase ends, you move into your luteal phase. And so a lot of people associate their luteal phase with like the PMS phase, because if you experience PMS, it's happening during this luteal phase. And so this is the phase after you ovulate, before your next period starts. So it's about 10 to 14 days. Here, estrogen has dropped off, testosterone has dropped off, and progesterone is the dominant hormone during this phase. And I'll be diving into each of these in so much more depth here in just a second. All right, so it's so important to realize that we are the only creatures that have this 28-day cyclical hormonal fluctuations. So we have the circadian rhythm. So the circadian rhythm looks like, so the circadian rhythm is the cycle that is your 24-hour cycle that every single creature has. Men, women, children, postmenopausal women, every single woman, every single man, every single human has this circadian rhythm. And it's over 24 hours. So we have that, but we are the only people, us women, females of reproductive age. So if you have periods, you have cycles, you're ovulating, you're a woman of reproductive age, we also have a 28-day hormone cycle called the infradian rhythm. And you can kind of see that all of these like hormonal fluctuations, they're changing throughout the month. So we have two cycles going on. We have a 24-hour circadian rhythm and a 28-day infradian rhythm. And so it's so important to take into consideration both of these, because all diet research, all exercise studies, everything, it's only done on, for the majority of it, it is only done on men. Because men only have that 24-hour cycle, and so they're easy to test. There's not a lot of variables with them, whereas we are too hard to test because of our 28-day hormonal fluctuations. So we don't get tested on. So that means that all of this, results and stuff that come back from these like diet studies, these trials, these, exercise research, all of that, they don't apply to us because we are not the subjects that are being tested. Because men, if you look to the image on the left, men have a 24-hour cycle, and that is it. And their hormones start high and then just drop throughout the day, lowest at night. So their testosterone, their cortisol, all of it's highest in the morning, drops at night, which is why they can do the same things day to day, week to week, month to month, no problem, no issue. Whereas we don't. We have that circadian rhythm, but we have a 28-day hormone cycle that we have to take into consideration. And this is where cycle syncing comes into play, because by cycle syncing, we are aligning our nutrition and our exercise and our activities and all of these things with these hormonal fluctuations that we experience throughout the month. So as you can see, hormones are low during your period, and then estrogen increases in the follicular phase, and then progesterone's low, and then it increases in the luteal phase. So it's so important to realize that we have these hormonal fluctuations over 28 days, whereas men just have them over 24 hours. All right, now diving into our infradian rhythm. So the menstrual phase. So this is from your this first day of your period is the first day of your menstrual phase. So here What triggers this is, so your progesterone production drops, which triggers the shedding of your uterine lining, aka your period. So your hormones are at their lowest during this phase. Hormones drop, the body recognizes that it is not pregnant, and the lining is shed. So that's about 3 to 7 days. And then the follicular phase lasts about 7 to 10 days. So here, our bodies are developing follicles and preparing for ovulation. So estrogen is increasing. The follicle stimulating hormone increases because estrogen is increasing. If we have imbalances or do not detoxify it well, that will cause symptoms like acne, mood changes, etc. And then the ovulatory phase, so the increase in estrogen from the follicular phase triggers an increase in the luteinizing hormone, LH. This increase tells your follicle to release the egg. Estrogen is high, causing cervical mucus. Testosterone also peaks here. And then the luteal phase, which is the lasts about 10 to 14 days leading up until your next period. So the rise in progesterone signals the body to keep the uterine lining. At this point, estrogen has dropped off a bit. So if the egg has not been fertilized, progesterone production halts and triggers a period to start. All right, so why track our cycle? Like, what is the benefit of it? So, as women, we are cyclical creatures. So, our energy and hormones ebb and flow throughout our cycles. So, why do we expect to show up the exact same each and every day? This isn't realistic and is actually detrimental to our health. That's why getting in tune with your cycle is an absolute game changer for your health, your life, and your business. You may have grown up like me, absolutely dreading your period, hating it, counting it down like doomsday, like so dreading it. But the truth is, your period is trying to tell you something. It is not just a random time of month where you only bleed and are just more tired. It is literally your body communicating with you. Believe it or not, when you are healthy, you don't have any PMS. Your periods come regularly and without symptoms. But when you are out of balance, your period will let you know in the form of PMS, irregular periods, painful periods, anovulatory cycles, all of that. Your period has literally been deemed your fifth vital sign. That is how important it is. It's so powerful, and it is so important to understand what your body is trying to tell you via your period. It tells us in real time what's going right, what's going wrong. It is your fifth vital sign. It is so powerful and so important to make sure that we are tracking, so we can auto correct when necessary if something is off and we realize that like we're experiencing more PMS, or we're having painful cycles, or our cycles are too long, or whatever it is. We can note that and then auto correct as necessary, because we have the power to improve this. And so it's really powerful, and it's so important to know that PMS and painful periods, they are not normal. They are common, they are not normal. And so it is so important to know that, because a lot of times, like, women just think that that is just how it is. That's just what we're supposed to deal with each month, but that's actually not the case, and that it's actually not normal, and it's actually showing us that you have some imbalances that need to be worked out. All right, so diving into how to track your cycle. So tracking your cycle gives you such valuable insight into your health and hormones. It is an amazing way to see if you need to make any changes, or if what you are doing currently is working. So your monthly report card. So here are the areas I recommend tracking. So we got the cycle length, which is the number of days between day one of your current period and day one of your next period. So that's the entire length of your cycle. Your period length, which is the number of days of bleeding, like your actual period. Pain. So pain during your cycle indicates inflammation. So note any pelvic pain, low back pain, tender breasts, cramping, any of that, because that shows us some imbalances and some inflammation is happening. So PMS symptoms. So these are a great way to assess stress and hormone balance, because these symptoms are your body's way of communicating with you that something is imbalanced. So note any PMS symptoms you experience. Remember, PMS is common but not normal. All right, so Some more things to kind of track. So remember, first and foremost, your period should be pain-free and symptomless. Okay, so heaviness of period. So that's the amount of blood lost during your period. Note that bleeding between periods. So bleeding or spotting between periods is also a sign of a hormonal imbalance, potentially low estrogen or progesterone. And the same with heaviness of period. Like if your periods are too heavy, that indicates, excess estrogen. If they're too light, that indicates, low estrogen. So they're all symptoms. They're all symptoms telling you what's going right and what's going wrong. Period color tells us a lot of the possible imbalances. Like if your period's super dark, super clotted, that's estrogen excess. Or if it's super light, like kind of like a watermelon colored, that shows us that you have low estrogen. And then ovulation. So ovulation is how we make progesterone. So lots of imbalances I see are because of low progesterone levels. So really tracking your ovulation, making sure you ovulate, when you ovulate in your cycle, all of that is so powerful in order to make sure everything is on track with your cycle. And now a few advanced cycle tracking things to track. So we have basal body temperature. This is so powerful. So this confirms ovulation. So if you track your basal body temperature is your temperature first thing in the morning before you get out of bed. So as soon as you wake up, you would take your temperature, and then that's your basal body temperature. Before you get up, before you brush your teeth, before you get out of bed, you would take your basal body temperature. And so this confirms ovulation because progesterone, being a thermogenic heat-inducing hormone, it actually raises your body temperature. And so after you ovulate, your body starts making progesterone, and then that in turn raises your body temperature. And so, which we can see via your basal body temperature. So we can track your ovulation, and it confirms ovulation. It also tells us when your next period is going to start as well, because your temperature will drop as your body stops making progesterone, which triggers your next period. So we can see that as well as it's a really good indicator of your thyroid health, which I think is so cool. We can track your metabolism and your thyroid health via your basal body temperature. So super powerful. And then your cervical fluid, this also gives us your fertile window, because we can see your body makes cervical fluid when estrogen, in relation to estrogen around your ovulation, because cervical fluid is kind of how the male sperm gets kind of transported and taken to the egg to be fertilized. And so cervical fluid is super powerful, and it kind of tells us a lot about your hormones. And then your cervical position is another one that when you combine these three, that is, if you've heard of the fertility awareness method, FAM, these three are what you track in order to track your fertile window, so that it's like a non-hormonal way of birth control, so that we can see, okay, your fertile window is these days. So that means inside your fertile window, that is when you are fertile, when you're close to ovulation. So if you are trying to get pregnant, you would have sex in this window. Or if you're trying to avoid pregnancy, either abstain, either use a barrier method, withdrawal method, whatever it is, inside this window, so that you don't get pregnant. And so that's kind of the mechanism behind the fertility awareness method. This is what I use, what all my clients use, and it is so powerful, and it is just as effective actually as hormonal birth control. But so that's kind of advanced cycle tracking that is super cool. All right, so when you work with your hormones, they become your superpowers. Fighting against them will only lead to unnecessary struggle. Now, diving into cycle syncing, and I'm so excited to talk about this because this is super powerful. So what even is cycle syncing? So cycle syncing is when you align your lifestyle, so meaning your nutrition, your exercise, your activities, your social engagements, all of that, with your cycle phases, supporting the hormonal fluctuations that occur in each phase. So this allows you to get more done with less stress, be more productive, be more efficient, all while, reducing stress, reducing anxiety, and eliminating period issues. So, so cool. Working with those hormonal fluctuations during your cycle is everything, absolutely everything. All right, so think back. So, have you ever noticed that after your period ends, you feel a surge of energy, or about halfway through your cycle, you feel more confident and extroverted? What about as you near your period, you feel more withdrawn, more tired, more introverted? This is not random at all. This is all due to your hormonal fluctuations that occur throughout your cycle. Cycle syncing is when you adapt your diet, your exercise, your routines, your social calendar, and even important work engagements to the different phases of your monthly menstrual cycle. Because throughout your menstrual cycle, your hormones shift, causing you to feel and act differently depending on the time of the month. So there are 4 phases of your menstrual cycle, which I already talked about: your menstrual phase, follicular, ovulatory, and luteal. And each one has different hormones at play and need different lifestyle and nutrition support. And research shows that these fluctuating female sex hormones influence your mood, your energy levels, your attractiveness, your pain tolerance, your food cravings, and more. It is so, so powerful. All right, now, who would benefit from cycle syncing? Everyone, literally every single woman. If you are trying to conceive, if you have PCOS, if you have hormonal acne, if you struggle with PMS, like cramps, mood swings, anxiety, headaches, etc., if you experience irregular, heavy, and or painful periods, if you are struggling to get pregnant, if you have low libido, if you just feel like something is off and you're ready to show up more powerfully for your clients and in your business, this is all cycle syncing is the answer to your hormone prayers, because it is so, so powerful. And it's really, really cool because even your sexual response changes throughout your menstrual cycle due to these hormonal fluctuations. So you feel, more in the mood, less in the mood. You need more lubricant, less lubricant. All of these things, like everything changes. Your sexual response completely changes just depending on where you are in your cycle. So when you know this, a lot of times I just hear so many women, think that something is wrong with them because they can't get in the mood, or they feel off about not wanting sex at certain times of the month. And it's just like, it's so liberating when you realize that it is just due to these hormonal fluctuations. And so once you work with your cycle, with these hormonal fluctuations, it is a game changer for you, for your relationships, for your life, your health, your business, all of it. All right, so tell me if this sounds familiar. So you're hardworking and ambitious, yet something is hindering you from reaching the level of success you're destined for. You struggle with period issues, PMS, mood swings, and low energy, and it's affecting your business and your life. Or if you're not a business owner, it's just affecting your life. It's affecting how you feel mentally, emotionally, physically. You get stressed out easily, especially before your period, and it's affecting your work and your goals. Your low energy, mood swings, and brain fog are affecting how you show up in your business and for your clients, and honestly, your bottom line as well. Again, relating back to if you're a female business owner. You often ignore your self-care and never take time off because you're a go-getter and a boss babe who is juggling 50 things at once. Your period issues, mood swings, fatigue, and low libido are affecting your relationships. So if you answered yes to any or all of these, you're in the right spot, because mastering your hormones and your cycle is the answer to your prayers. But thankfully, it does not have to be this way. So our society as a whole is built around the 24-hour circadian rhythm, which I talked about. The 24-hour circadian rhythm is the only cycle men have. All humans have it. And so our society is only built around that 24-hour circadian rhythm. It does not take into consideration our 28-day cycle and then the fluctuating hormones that are involved within that, which dictate everything for us as females. So another thing that is helpful with cycle syncing is that, like, instead of being caught off guard when your period comes, and kind of allowing your cycle to control you, you will be able to learn how to predict it and sync your life with it, so you can use it to increase productivity with less stress and anxiety. And I touched on this earlier as well, but the majority of all fitness and nutrition research is done only on men and postmenopausal women because we, as females of reproductive age, are too hard to test due to our hormonal fluctuations throughout our cycles. So, what this means is that the diets that promote the weight loss, the keto, intermittent fasting, HIIT training, high intensity interval training, all of these actually, in fact, hurt our hormones and inhibit us from reaching our goals. So we have to work with our hormonal fluctuations in order to see success in the gym, in order to see success really in all aspects of our life. All right, so some side effects of syncing your life with your cycle. You feel good in your body all month long. You have time work for you instead of against you. You have more energy each day instead of feeling drained. You get more done with less stress and overwhelmed. You feel great about who you are. You feel powerful. You feel confident. You effortlessly maintain a healthy weight. You feel aligned with the creation process. You're not feeling as much pressure to be perfect. You get more enjoyment from your work. You actually know how your beautiful body works and being able to autocorrect with when something is off. That is so, so powerful. Just like knowing how you work. It is something that every single woman needs to know how her body works, and then be able to autocorrect if something is off or anything like that. It is so, so, so important. All right, so by living cyclically, you're able to tap into the power of your hormones and get them working for you, not against you, allowing weight wellness to be effortless. All right, so an overview of the phases when it comes to cycle syncing. So menstrual phase, which lasts again 3 to 7 days, the start of your period. Hormones drop to their lowest concentrations, triggering your period. Here you have the lowest energy levels. Slow down, don't push yourself. There is actually the greatest amount of communication between your two brain hemispheres, meaning it is the best time to reflect and make decisions. Really prioritize sleep here. The follicular phase, which is after your period ends, into leading up into your ovulatory phase, so lasts about 7 to 10 days. Here, estrogen is the dominant hormone. Estrogen is increasing here. And because of that, you have more energy and more brain power. You're more outgoing. So schedule your work meetings or social activities here and in the ovulatory phase, which I'll get to. As I mentioned, estrogen is increasing. So make sure you are detoxifying it well to avoid symptoms. So important to make sure that you are really detoxifying your hormones well, or you will get the PMS symptoms, the estrogen dominant symptoms. And then the ovulatory phase is about 3 to 4 days long. The increase in estrogen from the follicular phase triggers an increase in the luteinizing hormone, the LH hormone. This increase tells your follicle to release the egg. So high estrogen increases cervical mucus. Here you're feeling confident, your sex drive is high, your energy is high, you're super social, you're super outgoing, you're feeling incredible here because estrogen and testosterone both peak during this phase. And then moving into the luteal phase. So this is after you ovulate, leading up until your next period. So it lasts about 10 to 14 days. And again, this phase is a lot of women associate PMS with this phase because if you experience PMS, it is during the luteal phase. So the rise in progesterone, here, remember, progesterone is the dominant hormone. So here, the rise in progesterone signals the body to keep the uterine lining. So at this point, estrogen has dropped off a bit. If the egg has not been fertilized, progesterone production halts and it triggers the period, your next period to start. Here you are more introverted, you're more nesting during this phase, more wanting to stay at home, more wanting to not socialize, wanting to watch Netflix, stay at home. So slow down and rest. Your energy drops, so respect that. Spend time at home, really prioritize sleep here. All right, now moving into your nutrition and the different phases of your cycle. Okay, so during for nutrition and cycle syncing, we are really supporting, the main focus for this is supporting the um, hormone production as well as hormone detoxification of the specific hormones that are prevalent and dominant in each of these phases. So include these foods into each phase in order to support the dominant hormones at play, and then the detoxification of those hormones in each phase. Because when you do not detox the hormones effectively and efficiently, that's when you experience um, those symptoms of, you know, estrogen dominance, the PMS, all of that is if you are not detoxifying those hormones well as, you know, producing, you know, really supporting hormone production as well. So that's kind of where the nutrition piece comes in, because I see so many women, for example, acne. Like I see so many women struggle with hormonal acne around ovulation, or around their period, and the that PMS phase. And so by supporting hormone, and that's normally caused by like excess estrogen during those phases. Either you're making too much estrogen, you're not making enough progesterone, or you're not effectively detoxifying the estrogen. And so by using your food to support these hormones and support their detoxification, you're able to really make sure that you are, you know, eliminating these symptoms and all of that. So here's like kind of what, I won't go through all of this because you can just like screenshot it or look at it. But so the menstrual phase is all about replenishment, because here you are shedding your uterine lining, you're using up a lot of nutrients. So you really need to make sure you're replenishing the nutrients, replenishing the iron, making sure you're getting enough magnesium, all of that here. So those foods kind of support that. The follicular phase is all about supporting, you know, estrogen production as well as estrogen metabolism, so that you don't get, you know, symptoms around ovulation and your next period. So you're supporting like the cruciferous veggies. All of those are really, really supportive for hormone production and hormone detoxification. And the same with the ovulatory phase here. Remember that estrogen and testosterone peak during this phase. So we really need to be making sure we are effectively eliminating, you know, supporting hormone detoxification here, or you'll get the hormonal acne, you'll get those type of symptoms around ovulation. So these foods support that. And then the luteal phase is all about progesterone production, making sure you're eating foods that stabilize blood sugar as well, and support your stress response, because your stress in the luteal phase, your stress response is actually higher here, and your metabolism is actually higher here, which is really, really fascinating, because progesterone is a thermogenic heat inducing hormone, and so it raises your body temperature, raises your metabolism. So you need to be making sure you're eating a little bit more food here. It raises your metabolism about 10 to 20% in the post ovulation. Really, really cool. So it's really important to make sure you are eating enough to support that, as well as eating for progesterone production as well. So it's so important to know that the number one cause of hormonal imbalances, period problems, and fertility issues is a lack of the right nutrients in our diets. So we have to make sure we are eating enough, and eating enough of the right foods in order to balance hormones and overcome period problems and, you know, support our fertility. It is so important to make sure that we are eating enough, and eating enough of the right foods for our hormones. All right, now diving into movement for each phase. So this is so fascinating, because it's because our metabolism and our stress response changes throughout the month, and so we need to support this. So instead of showing up the same every single day, exercise wise, that actually hinders your results. So when you push yourself too hard during a phase that requires more gentle movement, you are adding additional stress onto your body and can cause more imbalances. There is no need to push yourself hard in the gym every day in order to see results. By following this, you'll be supporting your hormonal fluctuations of each phase, and in turn, reaching your goals more effectively. So Pre-ovulation. So pre-ovulation, you have a lower stress response and a lower metabolism. So here, so your follicular phase. Okay, well, I'll start with your menstrual phase. It is so important to rest and relax and recuperate, recover, kind of reset. So here, really just like nap if you need to. Like here, nap is considered an exercise. But really just like gentle yoga, gentle movement, walking, Pilates, super low intensity during when you're on your period. And then the follicular phase, here you have your stress response is lower and your metabolism is lower. So here you can push yourself a little bit more in the gym and see good results from it. So you can do the HIIT, the weightlifting, the more intense workouts and get benefit from it. Same with the ovulatory phase, because you have the ovulatory phase is, right there leading right up into ovulation. Here you have more energy because your estrogen and testosterone have peaked. You have more energy. You're more social. You can push yourself more in the gym because here your stress response is still a little bit lower and your metabolism is lower because you have not started creating progesterone yet. And so you can do the high impact workouts, the HIIT, the group classes like spinning, group classes, especially because you are more social, more outgoing. That's a good time in the ovulatory phase. And then the luteal phase here, your stress response is higher, your metabolism is higher. And so if you try to push yourself too hard here, that actually causes fat storing and muscle wasting. So it is really important to tone it back here and focus more on like the restorative movement, the stretching, walks, yoga. You can do light resistance, like strength if you want, but here it's really important to make sure not to push yourself super hard in the gym or it'll backfire and cause more hormone issues and cause fat storing and muscle wasting, which who wants that? No one, obviously. All right, so when it comes to your business, so syncing your business with your cycle, and if you're not a business owner, no worries, you can still incorporate this into, if you're in the corporate world, you can incorporate this in, if you're a stay-at-home mom, you can just like kind of use this as kind of an overview of what to do in each phase in order to really optimize success, optimize productivity. This is an absolute game changer. So different phases of your cycle have different energy levels, confidence levels, mood changes, etc. We truly become different women as we progress throughout our cycle. So why do we expect to show up the same each and every day? So by tapping into the power of your cycle and aligning your business with the different phases of your cycle, you will show up in alignment and more powerfully for your clients and in your business. And it is absolutely incredible because this is what I use, what I teach my clients, my entrepreneurial clients, in order to skyrocket the success of their business and to be successful at all times of the month. So not because I see so many female business owners who have to take like days, even weeks off because they're struggling with PMS or period issues or hormone issues or whatever. And so by doing this, you are able to be productive at all times of your cycle. So because we are working with this brain chemistry, so our brain changes 25% throughout the month. And so by working with that and working, with our mood changes, our extrovertedness, our energy, our brain, all of that, we're able to really capitalize on the powerful components of each phase of our cycle. So the menstrual phase is the best time to rest. So reflect, set goals and intentions, journal, evaluate goal progress, and make course corrections. Here, remember, the communication between the two hemispheres of your brain are at their like highest. So you're all about like the brain, like the back end type of stuff, like setting goals, all of that. And then the follicular phase, as your energy starts to increase, you start to become a little bit more outgoing. It's the best time. You're very creative here. So this phase is all about creation. So start something new, have sales calls, appointments, networking events, social events, play, have fun. You're feeling great here. Same with the ovulatory phase. So here it's all about implementation. So it's the best time to nurture relationships and connect with your community, have sales calls, appointments, events, do the live videos, launch your products, all of that. Share your ideas with the community, be social, put yourself out there, be on guest podcasts, all of that. It's the best time to just be front facing and getting your face out there. Then the luteal phase, here you're more nesting, you're more wanting to reflect on the past few weeks, the past month. So here's the best time to kind of create finished products, finished projects. It's all about finishing, wrapping things up and finishing things. So declutter, prioritize tasks, reevaluate what and who is not working in your business, because your tolerance here is very low. Give yourself compassion, practice self-care, really do the behind the scenes work here, the admin tasks, all of that. All right, so going back to kind of what I was talking about when it comes to this with your business and the cycle syncing your business. So ideation is the menstrual phase. So ideation is when, because of this communication between the two hemispheres of your brain, you are super, you've got these ideas, you're thinking of ideas and you're wanting to, you're coming up with these ideas. So the menstrual phase is all about ideation, and the follicular phase is all about creation. You're all about like hashing out and really like hashing out that idea you had in the menstrual phase and like fleshing it out and getting all of your ideas on paper and starting to create the program, the product, the course, whatever it is. And then the ovulatory phase is all about implementation. So here you are implementing, you are getting on camera, you're getting on, doing the live videos, doing the guest podcast speakings, all of that here is all about like your front facing implementation work. And then the luteal phase is all about reflection, seeing what went right, what went wrong, what could be changed, all of that, journaling on it and making course corrections for next time. All right, so 4 reasons to sync your business with your cycle. So optimize productivity, boost efficiency, increase impact, and you feel more fulfilled. This is so powerful. I can't even put into words how much of it more of an impact you will have on others in your business by cycle syncing, because you feel great at all times of the month. You show up powerfully at all times of the month, and you really just capitalize on these hormonal fluctuations that impact everything for us, so that you just feel amazing. You feel more productive, more efficient, and just more fulfilled in your business by cycle syncing. All right, so a quick note on what to do if something doesn't align with your cycle, because of course, there's no way that you can perfectly line up all of your activities, everything with the different phases of your cycle. So if something does not align with your cycle, no worries. We can literally do things. We can do anything at any time of the month. It's just that working with these hormonal fluctuations just gives you more energy and gives you more productivity. But you can do anything at any point of the month. So of course, planning your work schedule around your cycle sounds great, but what do you do if something is out of sync with your phase, say because of a project deadline? No worries at all. As I mentioned, you can do anything in any phase. It's just that working with these hormonal fluctuations infuses you with more energy, more productivity, more efficiency, so you have more time and energy to focus on the things you want to do. But it is fine to do things that are out of sync with your cycle. They just know that they create a slightly bigger energy drain on your system. You can do them, they just cause a more of an energy drain on your system. So to combat this, just make sure to add an additional piece of self-care into your day to compensate for that energy drain. So that is it. All you have to do is just add in an additional piece of self-care into your day to compensate for that energy drain. That's it. Nothing too crazy. So syncing your life and your business to your cycle will allow you to show up more confidently and powerfully. We are literally biohacking our life and optimizing our health in the best way possible. It is so powerful. So it literally affects everything. It affects our business, our relationships, our health, our life. Imagine what it would feel like to fall in love with your cycles and flourish in all of these different aspects. So for example, for your business, what most ambitious women don't realize is that when we work against our hormones, whether knowingly or not, this is counterproductive and actually causes more harm to our business via more stress, more anxiety, less productivity, brain fog, low energy, all of that. But when we learn how to work with our cycles, everything changes. We're more focused, more productive, have all day sustained energy, have brain clarity, and we're able to show up for our business and our clients at the level they deserve. And then in our relationships, I mentioned this earlier as well, but I hate to bring it to you, but your low libido, your PMS, mood swings, and crankiness are really putting a damper on your relationships, not only with your significant other, but also your friends and family as well. Once you start cycle syncing, your sexual activities and all of that via, based on your sexual response in each of these phases, it's an absolute game changer. And just really knowing all of this is so important, not only with your significant other, the relationship with them, but also with friends and family as well. And then in your health, so this goes without saying, but when you work against your hormones, your health suffers. Your periods are actually the best indicator of our health as women. So when you're struggling with period issues, your body is trying to tell you that your health is struggling as well, and it's time to dig deeper. And then in your life in general, so as if succeeding in your business, your relationships, and your health isn't enough, you'll thrive in your life in ways you didn't think possible. I'm talking, less anxiety, less stress, better sleep, more motivation, happier moods, more energy, just feeling at peace and content with your life. It is possible. And the reason that, maybe you aren't feeling this way is because you are working against these hormonal fluctuations. All right, so how do you get started? This all sounds well and good, but how do you actually get started? So step one, begin with tracking your cycle. You need to know where you are in your cycle to even know, what hormonal fluctuations are happening at that specific time. So you can download an app or pen and paper if that's more your style, and track each of the different areas mentioned earlier. This will help also give you a baseline for your current hormonal health, seeing if anything needs to be corrected, or if your period looks great, or if your cycles look great, or if they're off, all of that. And then step two is make note of any issues you experience during your cycle. So journal on how your life and your business would improve if you eliminated these issues. Also, going back to the app, I use Natural Cycles and I love it. It's an app that comes with like the basal body thermometer and all of that. So that's what I use, but there are a lot of free apps out there as well. Some are better than others. And if you have like questions about apps or anything like that, please reach out, let me know. All right, so I talked about step two, moving on to step three. So review the cycle syncing overview that was laid out earlier, and then pick 1 to 2 things from each phase of your cycle, the menstrual, follicular, ovulatory, and luteal, and start to incorporate them into your cycles. So maybe you start with nutrition and you just implement, a few of the foods into each of your cycles. Or maybe you start with exercise and you start cycle syncing your exercise. Maybe it's the business activities. Pick what you want to focus on and start implementing that into your cycle. And then step 4, so after 1 to 2 cycles, after you're, kind of starting maybe to get the hang of it, reflect back on your cycles and note any changes and improvements you have noticed. So make note of what still needs to be improved, what you're still struggling with, what's not going as well as you wish would be, and then keep adding 1 to 2 things into each phase of your cycle until symptoms have disappeared. So start incorporating, a couple more foods, start incorporating, maybe you only focused on nutrition and now you start incorporating exercise in, like just start slowly and easily, like easing your way into this, because I know it can be kind of overwhelming. Excuse me. And I don't want you to feel overwhelmed at all. So do it slowly and gradually and build on it, cycle by cycle. All right. So my last slide is just a little note. I want you to give yourself the same care and attention that you give to others and watch yourself bloom, because truly taking care of your hormones, taking care of your cycles, really, cycle syncing, cycle tracking, it is so powerful, and it just makes you feel incredible. It helps eliminate all of these symptoms that you possibly are experiencing if you're dealing with some hormonal issues. And so it truly is an absolute game changer for your health, your business, if you're a business owner, your relationships, your life in general. It is so powerful. So I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions at all, because this barely scratches the surface. Barely scratches the surface of cycle syncing. There is so much more that is involved in it. I didn't want to overwhelm you, and so I wanted to give kind of an overview of cycle syncing. Very, surface overview, because I could go so much more in deep, but I wanted to make sure that you understood the basics of it and kind of the science behind it. So I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. I would love to support you if you're, trying to cycle sync or you're wanting more information about it. Please reach out and let me know. And I hope that was helpful. I would love to hear any feedback you have for me. And happy cycle syncing.